Hello everybody, today I wanted to touch back on a topic that I brought up in an earlier Overwatch video, and that topic is in regard to the character designs of recent Overwatch 2 heroes, as well as their gameplay and kit in general, and lastly about character favoritism, which I'm sure is a topic you guys have heard about Overwatch 2. But before I get into all of that, make sure you guys just like the video and subscribe. This is like my fourth video on the channel, and I'm still planning to do way more. But yeah, now that that's out of the way, let's get started, shall we? So character designs in Overwatch 2 have been a little bit noticeably different than the ones in Overwatch 1. To get perspective, the starting Overwatch 1 roster was consisted from like certain legacy Capcom character designers that have, designed characters for Street Fighter and stuff like that, because Overwatch 1 was very influenced by like fighting game characters and just fighting games in general, which is why that roster is so vastly different from each other. They're so unique and quirky, and like, all these unique features that they've got, whether it be on their character designs or their utilities and stuff. But now you fast forward over to Overwatch 2 and you notice that a lot of the characters, minus some exceptions, sort of lack any uniqueness to them. Like for instance, let's say the latest hero, Wu Ying, right? If you were to look at him just without, even his staff, if he had it or not, you could just look at that guy and just be like, he just looks like a normal guy, like he literally looks like a normal young character. There's not necessarily anything unique about him. Like he's sporting tennis shoes, tank top, and like some sweatpants with a sweater around his waist, I think. There's really nothing else that makes him stand out. And this isn't necessarily hate on the entire character design of Wu Ying, especially when it almost feels like he's basic like that for a reason, like for the sake of selling more skins that'll make him more unique. And honestly, that could be said for the other characters I want to talk about from Overwatch 2. Is that are they playing on purpose because Blizzard wants you to pay for more unique looking skins? I don't know. But moving on from Wu Ying, let's talk about someone like Sojourn. To me, Sojourn's design, she looks distinct enough with her like cybernetics and all, but I feel like even then she still looks a little basic, but it almost feels like she's missing something in terms of her design. Like she's missing another layer of clothing or just something. And now let's take a look at Venture. I think Venture's design is fine. I feel like they have all the components of what should make a character design distinct, but I don't think they hit the nail or, made a home run with that design. And this isn't to say that it's ugly or anything like that. It's just, I don't know. I just feel like it feels complete, but at the same time, it feels like a complete design, but not necessarily a standout design, if that makes sense. And the same applies to someone like Freya, who very oddly looks like Widowmaker, or like, she looks like she could be a skin for Widowmaker. Aside from like, I don't know, her weapon, she doesn't harbor any traits that are very unique to her. You look at her face and like, literally she could be Widow's twin sister. For all we know, she is literally Widow's alter ego or something. And then you got someone like Mauga, and for Mauga, he was such an anticipated hero since Overwatch 1. He was supposed to be in Overwatch 1, but at the end they just kind of saved him for Overwatch 2. So people have been like, hyped for Mauga, especially when it comes to lore and like, his relationship with Baptiste. And when they finally revealed him, he's just like a shirtless guy, like he just has pants and like some military stuff on him, but he's shirtless. And that's really it for his design. And even then, like, regardless of him being basic, he doesn't even get skins at all. So it's like, going back to my point when I was talking about like our characters looking more basic to sell more skins that look more unique, Mauga for some reason hasn't gotten that treatment at all. He just kind of looks basic. He's gotten a few skins like the crossover for Cowboy Bebop, but that's about it. And of course, you probably got the biggest offender of all, Kiriko. She was a launch Overwatch 2 hero, and honestly, out of the three that launched with that game, Junker Queen, Sojourn, and Kiriko herself, I think she had the weakest design. However, ever since the launch of Overwatch 2, she has gotten a mountain of skins. It's almost comical. Like, she already has more legendary skins than Baptiste ever could, and Baptiste is like a Overwatch 1 hero. And I get it that popular characters are gonna be given such skins because they make the most money, but I don't think that it warrants sort of this weird favoritism Blizzard has with Kiriko, where literally, dude, almost every season you get of Overwatch 2, like, she will either have a skin, an emote, a highlight intro, a collaboration, something. Like, when was the last time we got a brand new Zarya skin or a brand new like legendary Mauga skin? I don't want to like just keep talking about Kiriko because I could legit make a video all about Kiriko, which maybe I could do. Maybe it depends if you guys want to see that or not, but we'll just continue on. Now, I've talked about what I think looked basic in the game in terms of new heroes. I'm not saying all Overwatch 2 heroes look basic. I do think there are some standout exceptions. Ramattra, I think, looks really good. He looks very distinct, especially with his like Nemesis form. I think Juno, who isn't necessarily that old of a new added hero, I think her design is pretty good. She stands out, you know. You could visually look at her and tell her, like, kind of tell what she does, which goes good with character designs, is when you look at a character and you could sort of expect what they're about and like what they do. Same thing with like Lifeweaver. I don't think he's like a crazy character design, but I think he's a good character design in which like you could kind of look at him and you could tell like, okay, this guy's a healer. You know, he's got like this plant on his back, so he has like this weird petal stuff. And Iari or Iliari, I think she also looks quite unique. You could tell, you know, with her glowing eyes, you know, the way the color of the beams she shoots out of her gun. She's very solar orientated, so that her design really comes forth in telling you that like what she's about, and I think that's good. And in general, just playing on the paper, she looks pretty cool. And I think personally my favorite new Overwatch 2 hero design is probably Junker Queen, more so because she probably was like teased in like Overwatch 1, but she wasn't finally implemented into Overwatch 2, much like Mauga. Except I think with Junker Queen's design and like, you know, with her personality, it just meshes so well, especially with her gameplay. Like, it's so clear cut, no pun intended, but you know, she's got like the sort of Junker-ish Mad Max punker aesthetic going on. And in terms of like uniqueness, you could like look at like Junker Queen and like she stands out is all I could say. So this all takes me back to why Overwatch 2 characters can be like hit or miss when it comes to this sort of thing, whether they look basic or unique. And I know that's like all to perspective and subjective, but even like in plain sight, you can't tell me that you can look at someone like Wu Yang and Kiriko and then look at Juno, Junker Queen, and Iari, and like one doesn't look more unique over the other. And I really can't tell you why the reason is, because obviously all these characters are coming out from the same shop. You know, they're being made in the same shop, and obviously not, you know, it's not like one person that's designing every single character, so I get like different styles and whatnot. But at the end of the day, there has to be some sort of consistency with characters and like how they are portrayed, be it visually or even like gameplay wise. And to me, I think the worst offenders of it all are like Kiriko, Venture maybe to some extent. Oh my god, I completely forgot about Hazard. Let me tell you about Hazard. Hazard probably has the most, it is the design that has let me down the most, especially when you consider his concept art from before, or that like little tease image we saw way back when Venture was revealed, like in BlizzCon. I don't even know how much years ago that was already. He looks, does he look bad? No. But in terms of what he could have been, and I know this is like, I don't want to bring this into as like a topic of, oh, you know, what I wanted never came true, so it's bad. But we've seen sort of teases of Hazard's appearance and like personality and stuff like that, with like teases in game, and then like that BlizzCon little tease that we saw. And you would think like, oh, you know, we're getting like another freaky, cool looking tank and stuff like that. And no, we just get some guy. We literally get some guy that looks like he could be like a bad guy from some beat 'em up or something. And when I mean bad guy, I mean like just a jobber. And it's, to me, that design hurt me the most, because I like playing tank. Well, I play tank, let me word that correctly. I play tank in Overwatch 2, and I was like, especially after getting like, you know, like a lot of supports, because they wanted to like ratio out in a good way the supports to every other role. I was excited to finally get a new tank after like Mauga and Ramattra. I was like, you know, granted, Mauga aside, I liked Ramattra more for obvious reasons. And when Hazard was revealed, I was legit shocked. I would say, I guess I was disappointed. And honestly, there was a quote. I don't know if it was like debunked or if it was a misunderstanding, but there was like some interview in some website or something where somebody at Blizzard, I don't know if it was like a character designer, if it was like the assistant director or associate director or whatever, but they said that they wanted new heroes to be, well, they wanted heroes to be, quote, relatable. Now, what they mean for relatable, they didn't really get into it. I know if people have been asking for the quote oddball heroes, and they did address that they do plan on making more oddball heroes. But to like, it's a little weird because what to them, what is relatable and what is odd? Like, you know, when you think like odd is like hamster coming out of a ball and whatnot, monkey jumping around with a jetpack. But relatable, does that just mean like humanoid characters that are basic? Are Kiriko, Wu Yang, and even Hazard quote relatable? Funny enough, I have a little theory about Hazard's design. We saw Hazard's concept art, and boy, dude, he looked so freaky. He looked so different. Granted, freaky, no pun intended, but he legit looked crazy, right? There was some concept art where he almost looked like a spider. It was completely different than what we got at the final product. Was he just a victim of Blizzard wanting to make characters relatable, and they just decided to turn him as like humanoid as possible? Like, you look at someone like Hazard and you don't really see him being like the leader of this gang called the Freaks. He honestly looks like a jobber, and for those that don't know what a jobber is, it's like a henchman pretty much. Like, how did we go from these crazy concept arts to what we got in the game? He doesn't even get that much skins anyways, and that's why it kind of makes me think that is Blizzard's way of saying, like, you know, they want to make relatable characters to play it safe and make them humanoid and not as crazy and bombastic as, like, you know, Overwatch 1's characters were. And to me, that worries me because Overwatch 1's, you know, characters are what drew people to that game in the first place. Like, seeing, you know, the 4'0" dwarf, the giant monkey, normal Tracer, right? She's just a peppy British girl. But now it feels like the designs are very humanoid, playing it safe and basic. I don't know. It just kind of makes me worry some of these characters aren't going to look as cool as Overwatch 1's characters ever did. And that's subjective. And, you know, to reiterate that, this is all my opinion. You guys could be loving Wu Yang's design. You guys could be loving Kiriko's design. But me, I haven't actually like wowed at a hero design in Overwatch 2 in the same way I did in Overwatch 1. And to touch briefly, not only is it character designs that I feel like are going a little bit basic, but also character toolkits. I feel like it might have been with Venture or after Venture, I don't know. But I feel like heroes have been stripped down in terms of the crazy stuff they can do in favor for perks. Like, for example, Mortal Kombat, right? I know this is a weird thing to read up, but Mortal Kombat had a game called Mortal Kombat X where every character had something called a variation. So, for example, you have one character, you select them, and then you could choose from 3 different variations, be it like, you know, maybe this variation is more trap style, maybe this variation is more, you know, rush down heavy, maybe this variation is very like defensive. But near the end, the developers for that game kind of went away from the variation system because a lot of people kept asking, hey, you know, why are you stripping these characters? Why not just make them all fun at once? So in, you know, later iterations, well, the most recent iteration, they got rid of variations completely because they believe in that, where it's like, okay, we like the idea. It was a cool concept of having like 3 different versions of a character, but why not just like jumble that up into one, you know, like just have the character innately be crazy and cool and creative. I feel like Overwatch could use that because I feel like characters after Venture, even with Venture, have been designed with perks in mind, so their innate base toolkits seem a little plain. And to me, that's a little crazy because in Overwatch 1, you had like, I don't know, you could definitely tell an Overwatch 2 character gameplay wise from an Overwatch 1 character gameplay wise. I don't want this video to go any longer because I'm trying to like hold back on talking too much. So that's going to be it for today. Yeah, you guys got to let me know what you guys' thoughts on it. Am I just going crazy here, or have you guys noticed like a certain different style in regards to character, like how they're approaching these character designs? If it's too basic or if their gameplay kits seem a little lacking. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys stay tuned for the next one.